Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Dinks with Kinks. Before we get into tonight's episode, I do want to remind you guys that we are in fact on that social media. Reach out to us, say hello at Dinks with Kinks on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. I'm your host, John Dondero, and with me as always, the very beautiful, the very scantily clad Mr. Shep.
Good evening.
I have no idea why you showed up for this audio recording nude, but it's cool. I like it.
Hey, I'm here for it. It's fine. I'm living for it.
And that voice is a woman who, for some reason, wore 16 layers to a recording. But you know what? I don't judge her because she's still beautiful. Miss Rebecca.
Oh, thanks. I'm the princess and the bee.
The princess and the bee. I like that. Because you know what? After all those layers, I still want to feel you.
Oh, nice. Thanks.
How you guys doing? It's a fun weekend.
Good.
Halloween's tomorrow.
I know, it's Halloween weekend.
Which would probably explain why we're all dressed up, because we're about to do a live stream right after this for Dinks with Kinks. And if you're ever interested in watching this podcast live, go to twitch.tv/thedondero every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. It's a lot of fun. All right, y'all. This weekend, we got a big topic this weekend. Some might say huge. I say it's a beautiful topic, and I'm excited to talk about it.
I know. I am feeling all the nooks and crannies of this one.
Yeah, it's really getting to the thick of it.
Yeah, thick with like 2 C's.
Oh, thick. Now, this week we are in fact talking about big, beautiful women and big, beautiful men. We're going to be talking about big, beautiful people. That's this week's topic. I don't think I really have to. The beautiful people, the beautiful people. That song was about BBW, if you didn't know. It's an old urban legend. Can something that's like still modern culture be urban legend? Can we do that? Can we just claim things are urban legend?
Like yeah. I mean,
did it happen in suburbia?
What if we're not a kink podcast anymore? Was this the moment where we become an urban legends podcast and we just make up urban legends?
Oh,
then we would fail.
Then, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think we'll stick with kinks.
Yeah,
that's our bread and butter.
Yeah, I feel so.
Spread the butter, baby.
Spread that butter. No, this week, this is actually a really fun one, and it's a very popular. It's funny because I never really thought about this being a kink, even though it is a incredibly popular porn tag. And, this is. I have known this porn tag since the internet has been porn.
Well, I think this is like one of the first porn tags. It was gay and lesbian and BBW. I think it's like one of the trifecta, I guess.
So I think it's weird. It took us this long to talk about it, but, you know, I've always wanted to approach the subject as, you know, body positivity. We've talked about this in the past, about many things. I think we've talked a lot about it on our live stream, just being body positive and things of that nature. And God, this is probably one of the most body positive kinks in the world. It doesn't matter what type of body you have. There's always somebody out there that's going to find you beautiful.
Find you beautiful and find you fuckable.
Yeah. And it's also one of the most wholesome names for like a porn tag, a kink, anything. Big, beautiful women. Just right there in the title. It's just like, you know what? I am all about that. And so that being said, let's get like right into the meat of this, because there's so much to talk about. Why of it. Like, believe it or not, skinny didn't become popular until more recent modern times.
Skinny didn't become very popular until the 1950s.
Yeah.
1940s, 1950s. And that was because of rationing. War rationing, and because during the Depression, and the turn of the century, and I'm meaning like the early 1900s, that was when to have meat on your bones means that you had wealth, and that was attractive. Wealthy women were attractive, and wealthy women were plumper because they could eat more. And that was up until the 1940s. And then 1940s, that's when things started to slim down because you came out of the Depression, and it was one of those rationing. And that's when it just became, well, we don't have any food, so we're just going to make this the beautiful aesthetic. And so that's sort of how skinny became the new beautiful.
It's when we kind of took over what we define as beauty. Because before, beauty was really, instinctual. Like it everything controlled it. We didn't control beauty. We, sought beauty. Like larger people, more wealthy, so they're more beautiful. There you go. And then when all that happened, we were just like, nope. You know what? Let's define what beauty is. Let's redefine it. Let's get in there. Let's put this in advertising. That's when marketing really started becoming a thing. I mean, we've always tried to market, but the real marketing boom was in the 1950s.
Mm-hmm.
Like
At
they
post-war.
they started putting ads on everything. Propaganda. We didn't need propaganda anymore. We were done with the war. We were back home. We were victorious, so we didn't have to propagate. So we left all this ad space, and we're like, what if we just try to sell stuff? What if we just take this boom and run with it? But all our models have, models aren't known for their wealth. They are always hired by conglomerates. Models are skinny. Okay, let's advertise skinny. Let's do this. That being said, I don't think it ever, in many facets, it didn't go away for everyone. Like, this kink has always been around. I like big butts, and I cannot lie. No, I cannot.
You other brothers can't deny.
No, they cannot.
I like this kink as, and you're right, as a body positive and somebody who suffers from body dysmorphia. It's really hard to see, but I see this kink on the outside, and I see these women and these men who are so confident in themselves, and I honestly see them they're just hot. They're just hot. Like, I would take a woman that was just super curvy over a super skinny one any day. They're just hot. They've got this glow about them, and it's just yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, I have to agree 100%. I like a little meat on them bones. I don't like I don't particularly have a type, just because, I'm more of a vibe kind of guy, like when I find attraction. But I gotta admit, there's something very sexy. It's hard to describe. It's almost like, instinctual. Like, you see a thicker woman, you're like, that's gonna be, that's beauty. That's right there. That's health. And
right.
Because even back then, I mean, the larger you were, the healthier you were.
Right,
because that kind of just
the skinnier you were, it meant you weren't eating and you were unhealthy, and you were that's the one thing they tell you is if you lose weight rapidly, there might be a medical condition. So see, you're a little rose, a little glow, the blood flows a little bit, and the blood flows into your face and it flows to your naughty parts, and you know what? I'm here for it.
Yeah. And then we had the what I like to call the dad bod movement, where guys didn't have to be rock chiseled abs anymore. Of course, only 2% of all men were rock chiseled abs. The rest of us were always dad bod, but somebody went, you know what? No, dad bod hot.
Oh,
and I want to thank that person.
I love a dad bod. I would take a dad bod. I do. I love a dad bod. Now, I am all inclusive, all body types. I do I don't have a specific type. But yeah, I don't need you to be chiseled and ripped in it. Okay, yeah, you're attractive, but give me a dad bod. Give me somebody who knows how to grill a steak and then cuddle with me later after he beats my ass. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And but like I said, dad bod has become a porn category.
Really?
Which yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is this something? I did not know that.
Oh yeah. Go look it up. Go look up dad bod. I did. I totally looked up dad bod porn. A lot of it's gay. But, I was pretty okay with it, being the pan ass
I'm here for it. I'm here for that. Yeah. You know what? I'm okay. I'm here for it. I'm here for that.
Yeah. And I do I enjoy watching porn because it seems more real. Like, when you have a larger woman and all that, a lot of them are, God, give a woman a little thickness, and they'll run with that confidence. And you are 100% right. Like, the women who carry this, and they carry their weight well like that, they protrude confidence, and it is amazing. And I'm in awe of it because, like I said, I think most of the skinny people I know have zero confidence about themselves because my body dysmorphia, actively trying to keep the weight off and all that. And like I said, most of the larger women I know they're not unhealthy. They take care of themselves. They exercise. They're just thicker in all the best ways, or not even. You know what? In all the ways they are. What about you, Shep?
It's hard to say because personally have not, been into this particular kind of fetish or lore, but you know what? I do agree that I have so many BBW men, women in my life and stuff that they're just amazing people. I wish I had some of their levels of confidence, their personalities, and just so much jealousy there. And I love them all to death. Some of them are just the best of people. I cherish them. And so, yeah, anybody that ever even tries to remotely kind of shame larger people and stuff like that, I just have no time for them. None at all.
I agree 100%. Actually, fun story, some of the best sex I've ever had in my life were a larger woman. And, oh my God.
Yeah.
Just fantastic. It was just epically awesome. They know what they're doing and they do it, and they're, a lot of fun. I will say that's some of my positive memories. I've had sex with every body type, and the thicker ones are my favorite. Support for Dinks with Kinks is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package is the ultimate in men's hygiene bundle. Join over 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with an exclusive offer just for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code DWK20 at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, that's like 12 million balls. So let me get personal with you guys. I'm going to be honest, I have used some pretty sketchy means to get rid of the hair down there. I have done everything from wax, those rusted scissors that you always find in your bathroom. I don't even know how they get there. And that cream that burns the hair off and turns you into just a giant chemical burn for like a week. Then I found Manscaped. Their Performance Package 4.0 has arrived, and oh man, is it a game changer. Inside the package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold all those goodies. And they all fit perfectly in there. Oh my God. First off, that Lawnmower 4.0, that trimmer is of the future. It's probably one of the best ball trimmers I've ever used down there, and I have used every manner of hair trimmer down there, including the one I use on my face, which is kind of gross when you think about it. Their 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 is waterproof and also has a 4,000 LED spotlight for when you need a precise save. And trust me, fellas, you don't think you need a flashlight till you get down there and you're like, oh, it's lit up. I'm loving this. Because this trimmer is waterproof, you can say goodbye to the mess of the bathroom floor. Just pop that sucker in the shower and just bzz, 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 bzz. You thought that was good? But I want to take your grooming game even further. to the next level. The Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker nose and hair trimmer. The Weed Whacker is a waterproof, provides their proprietary skin-safe technology which helps reduce nicks, snags, and tugs of those delicate nose hairs. And trust me, getting to my age, you get some nose hairs in there, and you try to hide them in your beard, you can't. You can't do it. There's no mustache concealment. You just got to get in there and take care of them. You just stick that sucker in and go to town. Their Crop Preserver, Ball Deodorant, and Crop Reviver Ball Thunder will change the way you approach your hygiene routine. Trust me when I say this, fellas. Your balls will thank you. I used that stuff, and oh my god, did it smell amazing. And it actually really helped with, like, day-to-day chafing. I didn't realize chafing was a thing. Like, I was one of those people who's like, oh, I'm never chafing, until I tried this stuff. And I was like, okay, apparently I have just been uncomfortable for 40 years. Cool. Glad to know. Manscaped is not only going to give you all of that, but they're going to throw 2 free gifts in their Performance Package 4.0. The Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. Bring your comfort and boxers to another level. Those boxers are incredibly comfortable. They snug everything, and it makes it actually look pretty good. So, you want to wear them around, just look yourself in the mirror and be like, oh yeah. Anyway, it's time to take care of yourself. Go to manscaped.com and get 20% off and free shipping with the code DWK20. I'm telling you guys, get 20% off and free shipping with the code DWK20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com, DWK20. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tool for the right tool at manscaped.com. Now, back to our show.
Some of the most amazing things that I've seen, it's like you would never think this be a fact, just as a thing, but I've seen some larger people be more flexible, limber, and acrobatic than I could ever dream. I'm like, how? Teach me. I don't get it, but damn.
Well, that goes on the assumption that, and a lot of people do this. You see someone who's larger and you go, oh, I bet you they can't do shit. You never give them the chance. You always make that assumption because we've all known someone who carries their weight poorly and they're in poor health. I mean, it is a stereotype. And, it's a stereotype that we're all aware of because there are people out there who do that. But that's not their fault. I mean, I don't discredit them by any stretch of the means. Everyone should be entitled to live how they want to be and be happy. But that's why we don't give them the benefit of the doubt to be able to do these things. When in reality, yeah, you're right. Some of the most limber, wild stuff I've ever done has been with thicker people.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the misnomer that if you have any type of fat on your body, and that could be for several different reasons, not necessarily that you eat poorly or that you're unhealthy, because some of the most athletic people I've known have been bigger people, and it's just that there's muscle underneath, and it could be medical conditions, it could be just genetics, and that's just sort of how, but I have the most athletic, the most limber. I have not necessarily been the thinnest where they've had 5% body fat. That's not it. But I have, and the way that they carry themselves and the way that they can move their body, which is awesome. There's something about a BBW or a dad bod that is the way they move their bodies, and that even during sex or during any type of activity, it is graceful. If you really stop and look at sort of how some of these people move, it is very graceful, and how that they just own their body, and they own that whole tone of it. It's hot. It is just, you watch them in their, just how they carry themselves. They don't, they their shoulders are back and their heads are held high, and that is just amazing, and it's hot.
Shows.
Right. I being bi, I see both, I find both men and women, I think it's hot.
I agree. The one thing I do want to talk about is we're going to talk about the darker side of this kink. And I don't mean that like there are people out there who are negative about it, but like there's some unhealthy versions of this kink. And I will say on Dinks with Kinks, we never encourage anyone to do anything that is unhealthy for them or someone else. But I do want to talk about them. They are out there, they are established, and I think
We
people
definitely want to give the precautionary tales, as always.
Oh, absolutely. Something popular that has been brought to us about being on our wheel is the feeder kink, which ties in heavily with BBW, where the larger the better.
Mm-hmm.
They want a partner very similar to my 600-pound life. And I'm talking like 300, 400 plus size. And they enjoy feeding and nurturing and having their partner grow fat. Now, I don't believe this kink actually, because there is a lot of negative connotation. It's very unhealthy, but I don't believe this kink comes from a negative mind space. I think it comes from a very positive, nurturing one. It's very reminiscent of like my Italian grandmother. Here, come here, you're so thin, let me feed you, and they would just keep feeding you and feeding you and feeding you, because to them that is taken care of. That is almost like nurturing in a sense.
Reminds me of that stereotypical old Italian grandma. Oh, eat more.
That was my grandma.
You gotta eat more. You're so thin.
Yeah,
that's literally.
And I have it's not just like Italian. Like I have Filipino, and my grandparents immigrated here, and it was always eat. You're so skinny. Eat. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like I literally have had 3 plates already. Like I can't eat anymore.
And a lot of this kink probably stems from a lot of that. Now, like I said, if you have this kink, please do reach out to us. I mean, because I'm only doing research from what I can find on the internet. I haven't been able to find anyone with this kink. So if you do have this kink, please reach out to us at Dinks with Kinks on any social media platform. I would love to discuss more with you. And if we make a big error, I will absolutely retract some statements. That being said, we usually nail it. Everyone who reaches out to us is like, yeah, you nailed it. But there's always that one.
Well, we try. I know there's always something.
And typically, a lot of these people who have this
tries
kink
all the time to nail it.
Butt is butt. Typically, people with this kink are typically skinnier themselves, and they like to nurture. And I think it's both the nurturing side, watching somebody grow, and being contrastly different. Like, so there's so many aspects to that particular fetish of someone being much larger than yourself, body modification, the nurturing, take care of kink. I don't know. There is so much that goes into it. And like I said, it does lead to some health complications. So we do want to make sure everyone here practices it safely. So exercise, eat healthy, stuff like that. But I don't necessarily see a emotional negativity to it. Like the physical negativity, of course, gaining weight, and of course, emotionally wise, no one should want to eat and want to gain that much weight. But there is positivity behind it, like, if that makes sense. That's kind of like a gray middle ground.
Yeah, I do, like, maybe I've actually seen this happen before, where a partner has had a size kink of, be it, they like the bigger woman or the bigger man, and so that they only like them because they look like that. And it's just as, and when that person who is bigger decides, hey, maybe I want to get healthier, maybe I want to lose weight, or maybe they have
something like that. And
yeah, sorry, I had to pause. My Alexa was yelling at me. So when they were bigger and they decided they wanted to get healthier, and then they started losing the weight or they whatever, and then that partner is no longer attracted to them. That's just as mentally and emotionally unhealthy as somebody who's just attracted to somebody because they have big boobs or they have a big cock or whatever. It's just as mentally and emotionally unhealthy, because then all of a sudden it's like, you didn't love me for me, you just loved me because I was bigger, and that's not okay. So that's sort of the one mental and emotional thing that I would say could be a very toxic thing. So if they if they find you attractive, that's great, but make sure that they also find your soul attractive as well. Like, you know, so that it's not just about how you look.
Because I'm always saddened whenever I find out that they just really loved me and liked me for my big rooster.
Yes,
oh my God.
Your giant rooster that you keep in the backyard is the reason most people do and like you. But you're absolutely right, but that could be said with any kink. So I do want to, encourage the fact that obsession, fetish is borderline obsession. That's what it is, and it's easy to cross over that line. Just in any kink, if I am, let's say I have a panties fetish. If my partner stops wearing them, I'm like, well, I'm gonna get toxic about this. Health and safety always come first. Never, and people with this kink, keep that in mind, that your partner is more than just your fetish. That they are a living, breathing partner, and if you have this fetish, that everyone around you does care about you. So yeah, be very careful and don't have toxic tendencies. As someone with a fetish, I can understand the selfishness behind it, that you're not necessarily purposefully doing stuff, but you don't know how devastating it can be to your partner. So just be mindful of that and be very aware, because like I said, Rebecca's right, it gets toxic fast, and this is one of those kinks you're eventually going to have to set a cap and start rewinding some of that progress for your own sake and for everyone around you's sake, just because no one wants anyone to leave the earth before it's time. But no one should also face criticism for that.
Right. And that's where kinks like this are a little different than paraphilias. And in that this kink involves another person, being attracted to another person. And so, like, yes, the other kinks are the paraphilias, but that's an object. That's an object of some sort. This is a human being, and that's where you have to make sure that you both are on the same page, and that's where the communication comes in.
Absolutely. And that's really well said, Rebecca. It's like you did an entire month-long research on this. You've been preparing for this episode.
I tried.
No, hey, listen. I'm just giving you the praise. Take the praise.
Oh,
We're back on praise kink.
That.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and along the line of the safety as well, just remember to take all the precautions, because one of the subsets of this particular fetish is also going to be the breath play, or the smothering as well, when you actually have your larger partner on top of you, literally almost sitting on your face and such. So you want to make sure. That is another
fun.
Yeah. Good?
Yeah, I actually wanted to talk about that as a whole, like what people do. So we've covered the safety of it, but a lot of these partners, they enjoy being almost smothered or put on top. And so we see it in comedy movies all the time, which I always hate when they do this, because it is very anti-body positive. But there are many people out there that is, in fact, their fetish, their kink, of having that woman who, doesn't look like she would be able to be on top of you, be kind of almost encasing you in herself. And I mean, don't get me wrong,
covered like her Waffle House hash browns.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I fully get it. I mean, just being surrounded by somebody, literally surrounded by somebody, and feeling the weight of them and the warmth. I can understand that fetish completely. It does make an entire amount of sense, but there is safety issues. The human body can only take so much weight. So just practice safety. We're not saying don't do it. We're just saying be smart about it. Use proper precautions. Have taps. Have safety measures in place so no one gets hurt.
Since there can be no safe word in this, make sure to have the safety squeezes or the taps for sure. Yes.
Yeah, I know, and being able to get people off, because I know, and usually most of these people are very well prepared. They do their research, and I'm very proud of them for doing their research. And again, safety, and respect. Be very respectful of your partner and all that, because, like I said, a lot of these people, they don't realize that they are the idol of attraction. There are many people who have weight problems who are very self-conscious about it, and they don't realize that this is an actual fetish, an actual kink out there. So like we said last week's episode, someone's existence is not consent. So be very respectful at how you talk to them about it. You can, like I said, communication, 100% positive. Just don't be like, I like them really gross and fat. No, be respectful. I like big, beautiful women. Mm-hmm. How you say things really matter. And I say this anytime I'm telling somebody how to talk about kink, because like I said, I'm really open about my fetishes, and I've had partners do it in the past. People are like, well, how did you do it? And I was like, well, I talked to them. I wasn't creepy about it. I wasn't offensive about it. I told them straight up, I have a fetish for blank, and this is something that means to me. Let me explain it to you. Hey, listen to this podcast. They talk about it on here, and they're really funny people. You'll love it. It's called Dinks with Kinks. Check it out. Tell your friends.
There is like, and with along that, like somebody who like there is some type of, I mean, luckily we are moving into a society norm where body positivity is a thing. But for like people of our generation, the nice elder millennials and whatnot, where we have spent a long time and many years being shamed for just even having a little bit of weight. And so it's something that though they find it hard to accept that. So if you are into this fetish and you find somebody who you find incredibly attractive and that you're wanting to, but it might take them a little time to start believing you that you find them attractive, and that it's just patience as well. Like it's patience and understanding and just that constant reassurance. I think that goes a very long way with especially people who aren't necessarily see themselves as beautiful. They just see themselves as big, and that's you might see them differently than they see themselves, and it sometimes it'll take a little bit, but eventually with the right partner they'll get there, and you can be that partner and that positive influence and understanding and building that confidence in them and having fun sex during that whole period. So,
getting that thick sex. All in all, yeah, this is absolutely a fun, very body positive kink, and I am 100%. I've got this kink. I am 100% on board with it. Yeah, I like my women. Yeah. What about you, Shep? Are you on board?
105%. I'm on top.
We all like big butts, and none of us are denying.
Nope.
But around things in your face, you get
a failed attempt at altering the lyrics.
You get off. When around things in your face, you get off.
I do. I get off. But... And I'm glad that we're getting into more body positive culture. Like, I'm seeing more models who are thicker. Megan Trainor, I think, started that movement with She's All About That Bass. So let's give her a round of applause in the chat. Go ahead. Yeah. That being said, let's find out what we're talking about next week. You guys ready?
Yeah.
I'm ready for this.
I'm pumped.
Y'all ready for this?
All right, enough. Then we'll get copyrighted.
We're gonna get copyrighted.
Wait,
Copyright strikes.
I'm voice sound triggered. Damn it.
Well, you know what? It took us 104 episodes to get here, but we're finally looping back around. We're finally coming back to where it all started. We're really gonna be tongue-tied next week. Yep. Next week, we are in fact recovering, and revisiting our very first episode, Bondage.
Repossessed? Oh no.
So yeah, I think we should go into a little more detail, because we were young kinksters then. We were just so young.
I wasn't even here.
We were young kinksters. You weren't even here. We're going to be talking about bondage and just all the fun you can be having with that. We're going to go a little
bondage. Oh.
So next week is definitely going to be a much longer episode.
Starting to purr.
Oh, she's getting excited.
I am.
So I do want to warn people, we're going to have to record earlier that week, next week.
Yeah.
Because that is definitely going to be a longer episode. And I'm okay with
is.
that. I'm pretty stoked. There's so much to go for. And this is our very first episode. So long. And it's going to be thick.
With information.
That said, I want to thank everybody who has been listening to us, helping us grow as a community. Please, if you're listening to this podcast and you made it this far, tell a friend. Everybody talks about kink. Don't pretend you don't. And if you don't, you like comedy, you like education. We're all three. We're kink, we're comedy, and we're educational. Tell your friends, help spread it, and get on those apps that let you rate podcasts and give us them 5 stars to help us grow. You don't have to spend money. We're not like
you can help spread it.
We don't have a Patreon. Absolutely, if you want to help us grow, tell a friend and rate the podcast. As easy as that, and that helps us so very much. That being said, I am one of your hosts, John Dondero, and with me, as always, the ever slightly tied up Miss Rebecca.
Good evening, everyone. I'm tongue-tied.
And a man who's always pulling the strings, Mr. Shep.
Till next time.
Good night, everybody.